Well, we learned in lesson 2.4a that the constant of variation, the k, it really has a big effect on the graph. As k gets larger, the graphs got steeper and steeper and steeper. As k got smaller but still positive, it started to flatline out a little bit, as you can see here at 1/2. And when we made negative numbers for the k, the lines began to go downhill, again, more steeply so, as they became more negative. Alright, so since k is so important, we call it the slope of the line. Turns out that the constant of variation is the slope, and the slope is just a measure of steepness. Y equals k x to the first. K is the steepness or the slope of the line graph between any 2 points. Alright, so how do we define this steepness or slope mathematically? Well, the first way we talk about it is by looking at a graph. The steepness is the amount of vertical change compared to the amount of horizontal change. Okay? So, when I say change, I mean between any 2 points. Now, as we read from left to right, the first of these 2 points that we see will be the -1, 3. Okay, second one. So, x sub 1, y sub 1. And then the second point we refer to as x sub 2, y sub 2. Okay? Alright, now we want to find the vertical distance, the amount of rise from the first to the second. But that almost sounds like a mistake when I say rise, because I had to go actually down to get from the first to the second. I had to go down. So we're actually dropping. Well, let's see, we were up here at +3, and now we're down here at -3. So to get from here down to here, we dropped 6 units. Okay, so that's going to be a drop of 6, and I'll call that -6. So that is the rise. The rise is equal to -6 because it's a drop. Now, the next thing we do is compare between the 2 points the amount of horizontal distance change. So we're going here from -1 over to +1. Alright? So to go from -1 to +1 is a vertical or a horizontal change of 2. And it is positive because we're going across to the right in the positive direction. So we call that the run, and that, in this particular example, is equal to 2. Okay. Now, this is our slope. It's rise compared to run. A little bit more formally, we sometimes call that the change in y over the change in x. Now, this triangle is a symbol in mathematics. It's a Greek letter known as delta, and in mathematics, delta means the change in. So delta y over delta x is the change in y over the change in x, or more commonly referred to as rise over run. In this case, we saw it was -6 over 2, which would reduce to -3 over 1, or even more simply, just simply -3. So for this particular picture, if we were to come up with y sub 2 value, that's the rightmost value, subtracting from it the y sub 1, okay, and then that's all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. This should be a bit of review from a first-year algebra course for you. Is the line that passes through these 2 points, 3,78 and 0,0. Alright, well, to use this formula here, we're going to have to identify which one of these points is farther to the left. So you look at the x values, all right, and you see which one comes first as we look at the line from left to right. And 0 appears before 3. So this would be x sub 1 and this would be y sub 1. And then your eyes would fall on this particular point second. So this is x sub 2, y sub 2. All right, now once you have that established, all you have to do is plug these values into this formula very carefully. The y sub 2 goes in first. Now, this is the amount of vertical change. So, we want to find out how far is it from 0 to 78. So you put in 78 first, and from it you subtract the 0, not the other way around. And you'll see that that's going to give you a total rise of 78. Now the run, okay, the x sub 2 is 3 and the x sub 1 is 0. So we're trying to find out how far it is from 0 to 3, and of course that is 3 units, positive 3 units. If we had them switched the other way around, it'd be a negative 3 and we wouldn't get the correct result. That's why it's important that you plug in the y sub 2 first and the x sub 2 first. Okay, now, does this reduce? Yes, it does. 3 will go into, divide into 26 times. So this was equivalent to writing 26 over 1. But in most cases you're going to see that in your direct variation as just simply a k of 26. And the 1 is implied. Up 26 and over 1 block would be your steepness. Okay? There you have it.